Are you convinced they have no nuclear capability right now?
Do you want to know? They have no nuclear capability. No. Do you want to know that the pilots? I invited them to the White House because they were very brave. I mean, I wouldn't have wanted to do it. Get in a plane and they know you're coming and you're going right into Iran airspace, and they're very experts, and you're flying in with machines. Personally, I can think of other things I'd rather do. These guys are very brave people. I mean, they're real American heroes. And they told me something I didn't know. They said, "Sir, for 22 years we've been practicing this route 3 times a year, every year for 22 years, and you were the only president that let us do our job." We have more nuclear weapons than any other country. I think we should do something about denuclearization. And I did actually discuss that with both President Putin and President Xi. We have enough nuclear weapons to blow up the world 150 times. Russia has a lot of nuclear weapons, and China will have a lot. They have some. They have quite a bit.
Why do we need to test our nuclear weapons?
Well, because you have to see how they work. You do have to. And the reason I'm saying testing is because Russia announced that they were going to be doing a test. If you notice, North Korea is testing constantly. Other countries are testing. We're the only country that doesn't test. And I don't want to be the only country that doesn't test.
The Pentagon says it's moving quickly on President Donald Trump's order to restart nuclear weapons testing. Supporters are calling it a peace through strength deterrent against America's nuclear-armed adversaries, while critics fear it could trigger another Cold War-era arms race.
A social media post from President Trump is putting other countries on notice. I have instructed the Department of War to start testing our nuclear weapons on an equal basis.
I mean, I know exactly what we're doing, where we're doing it, but other countries are doing it, and if other countries do it, we do it.
Could we just actually do foreign policy some way other than by Truth Social posts? It's just bizarre.
Bombs away.
And that's not the only criticism from Democrats, who say resuming testing will violate international treaties that have been in place for decades.
It's just another example of Donald Trump and Republican policies going too far, being divorced from reality.
Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says the U.S. is not seeking conflict with Russia or China and sees resuming testing as a necessary deterrent.
I think it makes nuclear conflict less likely, and America will ensure that we have the strongest, most capable nuclear arsenal so that we maintain peace through strength. That's what this is.
The U.S., China, and Russia stopped testing nuclear weapons in the 1990s, but Russia recently unveiled new nuclear-capable weapons, and China is rapidly expanding its nuclear capabilities. Reasons some military experts believe resuming testing is justified.
There's no real pressure for them to actually rein it in unless they're confronted with a strong American nuclear deterrent.
China and Russia want the U.S. to refrain from any nuclear tests, and Iran is now calling America a nuclear-armed bully and a serious threat to international peace.
But just before the meeting, John, Donald Trump issued an immediate nuclear weapons testing order. Washington hasn't conducted any such nuclear tests since 1992. Here was Donald Trump.
We have more nuclear weapons than anybody. We don't do testing. We've halted it many years ago. but with others doing testing, I think it's appropriate that we do also.
Nuclear testing makes people a bit jumpy, but John, what's been the reaction in the United States?
Well, as usual with things Trump, it's been hysterical. You know, the liberal press makes it sound like World War III is about to break out, and it's all Trump's fault. What's going on here is that the Russians announced the successful test of a nuclear cruise missile and also a nuclear torpedo. So they've walked away from the moratorium on nuclear testing that every country has recognized, I think, for more than 30 years. And so Trump is now responding to that. And frankly, we have this big nuclear arsenal, but we haven't tested it. You know, we haven't tested anything in 33 years. I think it's probably a good idea for us to test a few of these nuclear weapons and see if they actually still work. That's easier said than done. It's going to take some time to set up a test. We'll see how far this actually goes. But personally, I think it would be a good thing if Trump does follow through.
It'll be fascinating where these tests take place is always the one that seems to drive everyone crazy. But if there's one thing the left hate or fear even more than nuclear testing, John, it has to be Donald Trump running for a third term. And he keeps waving this threat at them. Have a listen.
I have my highest poll numbers that I've ever had. And, you know, based on what I read, I guess I'm not allowed to run. So we'll see what happens.
Conscience says you're trolling when you talk about a third term.
Well, I don't think he said that. I don't think he'd use that term. But it's a very interesting thing. I have the best numbers for any president in many years, any president. And I would say that if you read it, it's pretty clear. I'm not allowed to run. It's too bad. I missed it. But we have a lot of great people.
So, John, is this just a clever way of kind of not being a lame duck president, which is great, or is there more to it?
Well, I think you make a good point, Rowan. I think Trump would like not to be seen as a lame duck. You know, they came out with Trump 2028 red hats, and they had him in the Oval Office, and the Democrats went nuts, you know, because the Constitution is very clear that you can only be elected president twice. Now, of course, Donald Trump Jr. could run in 2028. And the other thing that has been floated is maybe somebody else could run as president and Trump could be the vice president. And then after Inauguration Day, the president would resign and that would make Trump president. I think legally that actually would work. But Trump, again, talking to reporters on Air Force One, as he does all the time, said, no, I wouldn't do that. People wouldn't like it. It wouldn't be right. And so, no, there is zero prospect of Donald Trump having a third term.